Hi there, I am Amber with Lifepro. I'm excited to see many of you today. And if you are joining in after our live recording, feel free to post questions in our comment section. And as time passes, I'll come back in and start answering some of these questions. If I don't address any of your questions, as you should have some here. Happy 2026. It's a new year. It's time for a new you. 2026, January, it's always the month that everybody starts wanting to try new things to add to their wellness journey in order to transform, be more fit, lose some pounds, just feel better, look better, have more energy, get stronger. This is the month that everybody decides to go all in until they're out. So I want to keep you motivated because, we all benefit when we have a coach that motivates and pushes us to want more for ourselves. That's what I'm here for today. I've been keeping an eye on a lot of our social media posts in our Facebook VIP group, and I'm seeing a lot of questions for those of you who are new to Lifepro. I've been the spokesman for Lifepro since late 2019, early 2020. I am a certified strength coach with more than 20 fitness certifications. I'm also board certified and licensed in sports medicine and specialize in Eastern methodologies or holistic natural methods for managing pain relief and for integrating movement. But I have been able to truly embrace the last 20 years of my career. My college undergraduate degree is in athletic training and kinesiology, which is the study of the human body in motion. So I've been in the exercise physiology business for a very long time, since 2002. And along these years, we have had so many different changes through clinical research, through different companies inventing different products with all the research that goes into how these biometrics are measured. Biometrics is heart rate, respiration rate, body fat percentage. BMI is a measure of your waistline. VO2 Max is how much you can push it, max threshold for breathing and for generating red blood cells and fresh blood flow to the system. There's a lot of different things that we look at when it comes to how you are defining yourself as fit. And so now we have all these amazing apps using our smart devices in which we can track our accomplishments. And I'm seeing a lot of people asking questions about how do I know what to put in my app for tracking a workout on a vibration plate. And so behind me here, I got two of my favorite vibration plates. I have the Rumble X Plus, which is going to be the one closer to the portable steam room. And then I have the 3D Hovert, which is the one that I actually started with in 2019, early 2019. And so I want to share with you, as you are trying to keep track of your progress, you're using those accomplishments for motivation to continuing to plan for your daily routine, your workouts, or whatever your goals might be. If you have goals that you're trying to reach, feel free to put what your goal. I don't have to know who you are, where you're from, or how old you are. Just put in the comment section what your goal is for 2026, whether it is to be able to exercise without losing your breath or being able to have a conversation while exercising. Maybe it's just to get up off the couch for 15 to 30 minutes a day in order to being able to do more movement outside of what you do walking. Maybe it's you're trying to train for your first 5K walking event, or maybe you're training for a triathlon, or you're wanting to lose 25 pounds, or you're just wanting to feel better when you do move. So many goals, so many different lives, so many different expectations, but a lot of consistency as to how our body works when we are putting stress and resistance on the system. And if we are not stressing the system, if we are not putting our body through resistance training or challenging it, it gets stagnant and it doesn't transform, which means we go backwards. So we want to always be pushing into the right direction going forwards. And that happens truly by challenging the system. Many of you might not be responding well to challenging your system. Some of you might be more sore, or you might gain weight, or you might look a little more fluffy at first. I don't like to use the word fat because we actually have to have fat in order to survive. And our body will absolutely destroy and feast off of muscle tissue before it will release fat for fuel. So going through extreme diets, going through extreme hardcore cardio, heavy workouts is actually going to create more inflammation on your system, which means you're not looking for the right metrics or biomarkers in order to experience the results that you're wanting to. And so that's what today's episode is all about. I'm not going to put you through a workout today, but what I am going to do, if you're interested in understanding the differences of these two vibration plates, I'm not here to sell them. I want you to be able to visualize what it looks like for Amber, who is an expert with vibration, to be on the plate on each one, to see how my body moves different from one plate to the next. Because if you're trying to keep track in your different apps, your food or your activity diary or activity journal, if you're not quite sure how to validate the session of exercise on the vibration plates, you don't know how to categorize it, I want to share with you how to kind of come up with that concept so that when you are trying to keep track of calories in, calories out, you're changing or modifying your diet, or you're trying to get in those steps, but you don't step when you're on a vibration plate. There are different ways that you can track this progress without sabotaging the end result, which is a game that you play with yourself in your head. And many of you are telling lies to yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not working hard enough because the scale is not tipping, the clothes are fitting a little tighter, you look a little more inflamed, or you hurt when you do move because you actually started to move again. There are so many things that can derail your progress. And we are here, Debbie, Rosanna, and myself are here as experts in the field, specifically experts in vibration plate training, in order to give you the tools, the resources, and the facts so that you can adjust your program, your planning, and your sessions more accordingly to your needs. And you can enjoy the process, because when you stop trying to lose weight, when you stop trying to lose fat and you learn to embrace the journey, is when you're going to lose. That's when your body's going to let go of the fluff. Your body can survive on fluff for quite some time. And the more stressed that we are, the more that we think about things that are toxic, bad thoughts, negative energy, the more that we do that, the less likely that you're going to transform into the person that you want to be. Because as long as you're stinking thinking, your body is not going to allow you to recover, restore, and regenerate, because our body goes into a fight or flight survivor mode. And the hormones are exactly the same when we're stinking thinking as when we're pushing the nervous system full throttle and thinking that calories out is greater than calories in. It is, you cannot out-train a bad diet. I have tried. It made me very sick trying, and I have been on every diet known to man. I've taken every diet pill ever offered. I have ballooned back and forth from hormones, endometriosis, spinal injuries, depression. Like, I have ballooned anywhere from 140 pounds when I first got married, 27 years ago, or not 27 years ago, but 20 plus years ago, to 220 pounds following a catastrophic car accident or having a child a month early before my body was ready to continue on the journey. So I've gone back and forth from a size 4 all the way to extreme of a size 18, and everywhere in between. Today, not trying to lose weight, I am weighing in. I weighed in this morning at 142. I wear between a size 6 and a size 8. I'm living my youngest life right now. I am lifting heavier than I've ever been able to lift in my life, but I'm not doing heavy platform loaded squats in the weight room. I'm able to live free, and I'm 47, which is not normal for most 40-plus-year-old women. So I've been through a lot of what many of you guys might be struggling with. I come from a family of morbid obese, so heavy overweight, diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke. I'm from those genetics, and I've worked my tail off for the last 30 years just trying to stay ahead of that curve to where genetics don't define me. And trust me, if you're hacking into your system and you understand what your hormone numbers are, you understand what your biometrics are, you understand your heart rate, you understand how to manage stress on the other side of things. And if you know what foods make you more inflamed or what foods don't react to your body and you're not supplementing, you're not getting enough protein. Like if you're not doing those things and you're doing too much of the wrong things, you're not going to end up where you want to be. And I'm a survivor of learning that the hard way. So I want to talk to you today about how to track what the differences are, the different wearable tracking devices, what it means if you are on the vibration plate trying to do an amber loaded fat blasting workout, if you found those on YouTube. I've done over 400 videos for Lifepro, and I know that Debbie and Roseanne tried to merge those two names as one, doesn't work. Debbie and Roseanne have also offered multiple workouts, and we are all qualified in our different certifications, but everybody responds different. So Roseanne is significantly older than I am. Debbie and I are pretty close in range and age. Many of you might be in your 20s, 30s. Some of you might be teenagers. Some of you might be at your senior citizen time in your decades of life. It doesn't matter. You cannot out-train a bad diet, so make sure that you're eating well. I don't give nutritional advice here. I do admit to doing intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting for women works very, very well for hormone fluctuation. For men, it's different. You got to choose the right proportion of fasting, hours of fasting versus hours of consumption. And so if you know what your numbers are, you know your thyroid hormone, you know your testosterone, you know your estrogen, progesterone levels, you know what your blood work tells you, you know what your A1C numbers are, your fasting blood glucose. If you understand those numbers, then you can choose whatever food, fuel engagement system that you want, as well as understanding how hard to work from the exercise standpoint. One word of caution. I used to play the game calories in versus calories out. If I was at a fitness convention or the World Trade Show and doing like anywhere from 20 to 30 hours of working out a week because I was addicted to exercise, I loved the feeling of it. But I swelled. I always gained about 15 pounds when I was out of town at those week-long conventions. I didn't eat a whole lot during the day except for the samples at the trade show. I would fill up on pizza and burgers or whatever was convenient. I'd have my salad and I'd eat my vegetables. I would take my protein replacement shakes. And I would still come home really swollen. Why? Because you can exercise too much, and too much cardiovascular exercise is inflammatory. So if I'm trying to if I'm eating a whole pizza for dinner, or if I'm eating burger and fries, you're talking about 1,500 to 2,000 calories for a whole pizza. Well, not even for a whole pizza, for half a pizza. For burger and fries, you're talking about 1,500 calories around there. Hit or miss, just depends on where and the quality of the food. I was trying to do that in the form of fitness and trying to generate anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 calories of working out a day in order to offset that calories in versus calories out at the expense of gaining an entire clothing size or 15 pounds in a week and trying to figure out, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. I was wearing the tracking devices. I was keeping track of the calories of my activity levels. I was being mindful of what I was consuming, and I was not drinking alcohol, which is a whole nother curveball thrown into the mix. So too much exercise will actually cause you to swell, will actually force your body to hold on to fat. Instead of releasing fat for fuel, it holds on to it because it's in a state of survivor, fight or flight mode. And so we are upregulating the nervous system that keeps us alive at the expense of downregulating the system that actually repairs and regenerates and allows us to recover and heal. And when we regenerate, recover, and we heal is when our body actually releases fat for fuel, and that's when we actually shrink in size. You also have to make sure if you're doing certain pharmaceuticals, whether prescription or over the counter, if you're doing the GLP-1s, if you're doing the weight loss injections, you're doing the diabetes controlled injections, or even the oral forms of those, you're not going to be as hungry as what most of you are going to feel if you're eating without any intervention or other medical applications on the other side of it. And when you're not consuming enough protein throughout the day, not just in that window of time that you allow yourself to eat, but throughout the day, and if you're not consuming enough water or clear fluids, if you're doing bone broth, if you're doing different supplementals, but clear fluids, if you're not getting enough of that, then it doesn't matter how much you exercise, because your body is going to be in a rebounding motion, and you're going to lose muscle mass, or lean mass, is what we refer to as muscle tissue. You're going to lose that as a consequence of not eating enough and not eating of the right things, and that your body will shrink. Yes, you are shrinking in size. Yes, your body is releasing fuel for energy, but when you go to step on the scale, when the muscle actually shrinks in size, it changes in density and it changes in mass. So what a pound of fat looks like and what a pound of muscle looks like on a scale when we compare from human tissue is very, very different. So if you are shrinking and if you are losing muscle tone and if you are losing size, that's all great if that's what your goal is, but you're going to also lose balance. You're also going to lose metabolism. You're also going to lose the ability to balance, to like move, lifting things, carrying your handbag, your suitcase, carrying your groceries, carrying your children, grandchildren. You're going to lose the abilities to do all that because you have to have muscle mass in order to do that. You don't have to be all big and muscle toned, but if you are losing that muscle tissue as a consequence of not eating enough and exercising too much or not eating enough in general, then you have a much bigger problem than just losing size. So I want to make sure that we're clear about that ahead of time, because I'm seeing a ton of posts about why am I not losing fat? Or there have been some people who want to pretend like they're experts. Oh, you can't lose fat on the vibration plate without, doing all these other exercises. I am here to tell you, as somebody who is a professional in the industry, has been a professional in the industry for 20 plus years. I'm also a professional in inflammation, pain, and medical. I'm also a survivor of all of this. So I've been through it, which, is a different perspective. But take it from me. I'm not just somebody giving you my opinion. This is all evidence, data-driven information, not only from here in the United States, but it's information coming from other countries that are ahead of us in a lot of this research. When it comes to how well you're feeling, you can lose fat, you can lose size on the vibration plates without doing anything else extra. You can't get off the vibration plate after being on it for 30 minutes in a day and then go and feed your face because you're rewarding yourself for standing on the plate for 30 minutes. Now I'm going to go consume what the machine tells me the calories that I've burned, because I got newsflash for you. That's not how many calories your body has used. That is just a general marker. And what you're going to lose and what I'm going to lose and what my 15-year-old daughter is going to lose and what the 80-year-old senior citizen that I just put on here an hour ago, what she is going to do is all different. It is all different. So don't use the calorie burning or the calorie counter on the machine as a way of keeping track of your information in your apps or in your activity diary, because it is not accurate. It is a generalization based on a middle range of what could happen, but it's not exactly what's happening most of the time. That being said, if you're keeping track of steps, if you're trying to count your steps because you're having a contest at work for how many steps you can get in, you cannot use the vibration plate, calorie counter, or wear a tracking device that keeps track of your steps and not move on the vibration plate and give yourself credit for that. Now, I'm going to give you a little insight though. If you're not getting your steps in, that is just something that started years ago as a way of getting people up off the couch and getting them out of their desk chairs to getting them to move, because we were starting to see an increase in cardiovascular failure, respiratory failure, diabetes, all these different things that cause autoimmune markers. We were starting to see a huge surge in a lot of those autoimmune conditions, medical illnesses, chronic inflammation, and can't keep up with the prescriptions, the training, the physical therapy, the surgeries, all these different things that result from not moving, because your body has to move in order to keep transforming and in order to keep you alive. So the whole steps came in when everybody started going from moving to being a desk jockey or to being in a driver's seat, driving all day, every day. If you're not moving your body, it is getting stagnant. But here's where vibration plates come in handy. These are the same types of technology that we use in space with astronauts in order to keep them healthy, because there's no resistance in space. Where there's no gravity, where there's no resistance, the body and its organs and its tissues shrivel up and die, which means our astronauts are not coming home. So we had to figure out a way how to keep them healthy in an environment that their body is meant to be sustainable, where they don't have opportunities to be sustainable. So vibration, as they discovered early in the 1950s, became a result. They figured out, oh my gosh, where there's vibration is where our astronauts are staying healthy. And so there's been a lot of research through the years, through the decades, of how vibration makes a difference. And it goes all the way back to the 1800s in the Roman Empire, with Hippocrates showcasing vibration, tapping sticks over an injured body part, or plucking string instruments, because when you pluck a string instrument, it casts a vibration. And there's documentation going all the way back to the 1800s in which humans were healing through different applications of frequencies and vibration that was just manually created from mankind. So it's pretty cool when you go back and you look at the studies and you see, now that we have a way of testing it, now we have a way of delivering it to the residential use. So for the longest time, you only had access to commercial or fitness based vibration plates or medical grade vibration plates, which is not the same as what these residential plates are. So for those of you who are trying to go off of different competitors, so I'm not going to throw out the different big names that are out there, but if you've been in the fitness industry for years, you could go into a facility and you could have access to a tall vibration plate that is very intimidating, very big looking, linear vibration, which means the amplitude is up and down, not oscillating like a teeter-totter. And it was very uncomfortable. I did a lot of experience. I got a lot of experience in working with those in the 2000s, from really 2000 until 2015. You could go into facilities, senior citizen, living spaces, or hospitals, or fitness facilities, activity centers, in which you had these ginormous vibration plates. And hey, we're going to fix your balance if you just stand on it. That's all great if you can tolerate getting through standing on it, because it's uncomfortable. It was not a feel good. So fast forward to 2018, I had a total hysterectomy. My pelvic floor decided to go dead on me and not refire and it caused a tremendous amount of pain, which is what led me to trying out a Lifepro vibration plate at the residential level, which is oscillation, pulsation, and lateral vibration, not linear, which is what those medical grade fitness commercial plates are. And when you know, I lost 50 pounds in 6 months. You can go on YouTube and type in weight loss, Amber with Lifepro, dating all the way back to Black Friday, if I remember right, 2019. You can go back and look at that video, and I'm almost 200 pounds, a size 14, 16 pushing it. And then February that next year, February 2020, I ended up pushing hard with the vibration plate and doing other wearables. And you can follow the videos from February of 2020 to October of 2020, when I started doing filming commercials for Lifepro. And I shrunk. I went from being over 200 pounds to being about 160 pounds. And then in the process of not trying to lose more weight, I just did the workouts, created the workouts, which you can find all of those on YouTube as well. If you just type in Lifepro Amber workout, or Lifepro Amber fat loss, or Lifepro Amber high interval workout, or, there's so many. I've done so many workouts. I didn't do anything in addition to that because all the gyms were closed. That was during the pandemic. All the gyms were closed. So all I did was everything that was on YouTube from February until October when we did the filming commercials. And you can see where I shrunk on camera in front of everybody. I didn't do any extra workouts in addition to that because I was working my tail off with my own clientele and taking care of my daughter full time. But I want to show you, it is possible to lose a significant amount of weight on the vibration plate if you're doing a lot of other things when you're not on the vibration plate. There are ways that you can just use the magic tool to lose without having to kill yourself in the process. So this was in March of 2019 after having a total hysterectomy. I'm over 200 pounds there. This is summer at the World Fitness Convention where we debut all of the best stuff. I got a inspirational medal for understanding pelvic floor, low back pain, and working with this professional. He's a retired professional tennis player, but he gifted me, out of everybody in the room, they give out one inspirational medal for so many different classes, and I earned it just by, just using the story. This was in, let's see here, let's go 2019, Christmas of 2019, February of 2020. I'm starting to shrink just a little bit, still not loving myself there, but doing something so much bigger. This was February 2020, pandemic hit in April. That was in October. The videos were recorded for these commercials in my living room because everything on the East Coast and West Coast was shut down. So we turned my downstairs living room into a filming studio and hired a professional crew to come in and making Lifepro videos when we first started coming out with products. And now I am 25 pounds lighter than her. And I did all of this in a matter of just doing vibration, because I had closed my gym just like everybody else. It can be done. Now, one big advantage that I had at that time was I understood my hormones. So I knew how inflamed I was. I knew where my sex hormones were, and I started supplementing some of that stuff. That is not my wheelhouse. I refer out for that kind of stuff, but I changed diet. I changed what I was letting into my mind, because stinking thinking, negative energy can make you more inflamed. It can release the wrong hormones, which shut down your recovery hormones. So I had to change how I was thinking. Changing how I was thinking and not trying to lose weight is how I actually did it. But I did every workout on one of those 2 vibration plates for a matter of 6 months. And I did one workout a day, 4 to 5 days a week, no more than 30 minutes. In fact, I had a doctor contact me and said, Amber, you're still working way too hard. I need you to do less. I said, okay, I don't know how to do less because I'm addicted to exercise and I'm a fitness pro and all these people are relying on me. So I started multitasking. I started doing blood flow restriction, which is, if you've seen my videos, you've seen me wear the B3 bands. If you want more information about the B3 BFR blood flow restriction bands, that was my hack. That's how I lost and got toned really quick. 317-446-7971. That is my phone number. If you want more information about B3, because it is a separate product from Lifepro, is the safest set of blood flow restriction bands that you can use without medical supervision from the convenience of your home. And one of the top doctors in the world who has done all the research on this happened to find me in February of 2020 and got me starting to using them, but I was still working out too hard. I was still exercising too much. So I had to do less and learn how to just be free and live. I wore tracking devices in every one of my workouts. So you can go back and watch some of those videos and you can see that I might have posted or shown before and after, but I wear a tracking device that keeps track of my heart rate in the middle of the workout and tells me where I'm at in the zone, whether I'm working out too hard, whether I'm not working out enough, whether I'm in the recovery mode where I can do more abs, more core, more stretching, more meditational, or if I need to jack that heart rate up in order to get those calories blasting. You don't want to get your heart rate up over 75% max heart rate threshold for more than 20 minutes, or it becomes reversal of returns. Meaning, if you are exercising, if you are older than 30, and if you are exercising, doing cardiovascular training, at a 75% max threshold or above for more than 30 minutes, your body will start releasing more cortisol, and it will break down muscle tissue to create that cortisol or that glycogen return on your workout, because it takes too much time and energy to break down fat for fuel at the elevated heart rate that you're trying to maintain. For the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, if you are going at 80 to 90% of your max heart rate threshold, you are getting majority of glycogen and ATP or creatine phosphagen. Creatine phosphate, your body makes so much creatine as it is. A lot of athletes supplement creatine, but your body already makes it. So if you are pushing really hard and you're having a really hard time talking while you're breathing, you are not burning fat and you are not blasting through your glycogen levels. You're doing more of the creatine phosphate ATP system, which is like instant energy. Once that runs out, now you are going to transition into the glycolytic response, which is your cardiovascular system. So you are going to get more sugar, more glycogen, but still, in order to be able to keep up at that time, at that pace, at that heart rate, at that breathing rate, your body's going to exhaust through all the excess sugar that's in your system before it even thinks about using fat for fuel. In order to use fat for fuel, you're going to have to fall underneath that 75% max heart rate threshold. And you want to make sure that you're tapping into that threshold so that you can sustain at fat blasting metabolism for 24 hours after the workout. So you don't get fat burning during the workout. It's what kicks in after the workout. But if you aren't getting your heart rate up to a certain level, and if you're not dropping it after a certain amount of time at that level, you're missing the boat on strategy and getting the results that you want without the inflammation that goes along with it. So cardiovascular exercise, meaning anything over 75% max heart rate. If you do that more than 20 to 30 minutes, give or take your base metabolism and resting heart rate, if you do that for more than 20 to 30 minutes, again, you start creating more inflammatory hormones, adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol, heart rate stays elevated, and your body can't break down fat fast enough at that level for you to be able to use it for fuel. So it just shuts that off for a while, and you continue to pump, but it breaks down and destroys your muscle and strains the muscle at the same time while still releasing those inflammatory hormones. And you can't have the happy dose of healing hormones going off if the stress inflammatory hormones are going off. You can't have all of them happening at the same time. So keep your workouts for cardiovascular 30 minutes or less. That 15 to 30 minutes is that magic range. Resistance training. Make sure that you're getting in 3 to 4 days a week of resistance training, whether it's body weight training, using our little mini bands, using blood flow restriction bands, using free weights or your dumbbells. You're using kettlebells. We have our new kettlebells, adjustable dumbbells. There's so many different ways that you can do resistance training, but the best way to do resistance training, if you're intimidated by lifting weights or wondering if you're doing it right, your body is meant to move in so many different ways that you're not using or taking advantage of. Yoga is one of the best forms of resistance training you can do, as is Pilates. So you don't have to get the heart rate up in order to do resistance training. In fact, if you look at body sculptors, body competitors, bodybuilders, they do very little cardio because it causes them more inflammation. You have those individuals, they are doing cardio, but they're walking at a very fast pace or riding a bike at a very fast pace for a very short time. They shut it off in order to jumpstart the engine. And then they're doing a lot of weightlifting with multiple sets, heavier weight, and recovery in between. And they're eating super strict eating. It's not realistic for most of us to do that. And not everybody, including myself, wants to look like they're going to a bodybuilding competition to get a trophy in a skinny mini bikini or a pair of shorts. So, you just want to make sure that you're doing the right types of exercise, because there's so many different ways that you can exercise And it is not calories in versus calories out. I don't care who you think you are, what you think you know. The research is profound, in which hormonal response to eating certain foods and trying to blow out certain calories, it is not appropriate to push calories in versus calories out, because that is an outdated concept based on the sugar pyramid of the American Heart Association of the 1980s and 90s, and pushing hard and trying. If it's not true. You've been believing, and it has been pushed as an agenda for a long time. The research, you cannot ignore it. It is not what it used to be. So, tracking device. If you are keeping track of your calories and your energy expenditures, you need to make sure that you're wearing or keeping track of your heart rate somehow. If you're not keeping track of your heart rate, it does not matter what your machine tells you that you are doing. It does not matter what your personal trainer is telling you. It does not matter what your doctor is telling you. If you're not wearing a device that is checking your heart rate on a constant level while you are in exercise mode or on your vibration plate, you are putting in false information and you're lying to yourself. So please make sure, I don't care what brand you buy, I don't care whether you wear a ring, whether you wear an Apple Watch, a Garmin, whether you wear a MyZone heart rate strap. They make straps now. MyZone is one of them that wears a strap. You can wear a strap around your upper arm and it still tracks your heart rate through your skin. Your skin is your greatest sensory organ. It is also your detox organ. And so when we are doing body fat testing, I'm certified to do body fat testing for wrestlers to be able to wrestle through their season, because there's very strict rules as to how much weight they can gain, how much weight they can lose, the time intervals in which they do it, and we have to certify them before their competition even begins. And we do that by bioelectrical impedance scales, and we also do it by skin folds, by checking how much muscle mass is pinchable in the skin. So I will just show you, and I pulled up some of the biometric tracking devices, but this is MyZone, okay? So this plugs in to a USB, basically, is how you charge it, okay? It clips on, it charges. This charge will last it can last me easily a month. But it goes onto this strap. So it goes on to the outside of the strap. Polar is a company that started with heart rate straps back in the 1990s. I mean, I've been wearing a heart rate monitor since the 90s, and I will not do a workout if I don't have a way of tracking it, because it's an absolute waste of my time and my effort, unless it's yoga or Pilates, where I'm doing it more for mindset or for flexibility or mobility. So the MyZone strap, you wet it down in order to get it wet. And then when you put it on, I put it on underneath my sports bra. Gentlemen, you can wear it across your pecs. But it goes around your rib cage, okay? Right around your breastbone area. And when you get it wet, and when the tracking device is on, it coordinates with an app on the phone and gives you that data back and forth via Bluetooth technology, which is awesome. And a lot of cardiovascular machines, Life Fitness, Matrix, those are just a couple that come off the top of my head. If you go to a commercial fitness center and they have a cardiovascular machine there, it will pick up the reading of this live heart rate monitoring. So you can actually see your heart rate on the screen of the machine if you synchronize it to the unit. So it's pretty handy. Polar is known for that more than other brands that I've worked with, as well as Garmin, but it doesn't matter. You can wear an Apple Watch. An Apple Watch will detect your live heart rate, and you have that setting automatically when you buy the watch, whether it's synchronized to your phone or not. It will give you a live reading of your heart rate. And if you are tracking your heart rate and your respiration rate when you are on our vibration plates, you can't do anything with the information you have until you take resting heart rate in the morning when you wake up before you sit up. Because as soon as you sit up, gravitational resistance pushes down on the heart muscle and it changes your heart rate and blood pressure go up. So you're getting a false reading. So if you can take your resting heart rate, you can measure it right here on the side of your neck. You can use it here on your wrist. You can wear the strap and push start before you sit up. You can wear a watch if you choose to. Not only that, now they make rings that you can wear. Aura is one of those. Yoop is another one. We're going to yoop, yoop, right? Let's yoop it up. There's a lot of different brands of products that you can wear as far as rings go. And believe it or not, because our entire body operates on an electrical frequency, our brain waves, our heart rate, our lymphatic system, our thinking, all the electrical activity that happens within the human body is able to communicate through other electrical measuring devices in which you are getting feedback through these different electrodes, and you can use that information to specify your goals and keep track of it and adjust and adapt your programming as needed until you get to whatever goal you're trying to achieve. So MyZone is just one of them, and this is a free, you don't have to have a membership in order to use MyZone. You can buy these. I sell them. You can get them on Amazon, but you don't have to have a specific gym to be able to use them. Just download the app. It is a great, great product. Again, I'm not here to sell it. I just showing you what I use. It comes with a strap that you can wear it around your wrist, or you can wear it around your arm. So there's that. Most heart rate monitoring systems, if they have an electrode that goes to measure your heart, the closer to your heart it is, if you wear it on a chest strap, it's going to give you a 99 point all the way up to, they will not say 100% because of liability. But if you are getting over 99% reliability on your tracking device, you're going to be able to use that information much better than the reliability of what the number is on the vibration plate or the treadmill or the bike or whatever. Just don't follow the calorie counters on the machines as a means of trying to figure out how many calories you're expending for your different workouts. When you add resistance training to vibration, you're going to get more results faster because you're adding lean muscle mass. Your body is transforming, it is getting stronger, but you don't have to use resistance training on the vibration plate in order to get the results. Okay, so question was, is the MyZone only worn while on plates or while actively exercising? If I'm exercising, whether I'm on a Stairmaster, whether I'm in a Pilates class, I don't wear it for yoga because I don't care how many calories I'm burning. I just want to be able to elongate. But yoga is very resistance training oriented. So my heart rate goes up just as high in yoga as what it is when I'm doing training on like bench press or stair climbing or doing dumbbell lifts, kettlebell swings, and resistance on the vibration plates. But I don't wear it all the time. I just wear it when I actually care. And so if you actually care and you want to, there have been days that I've worn the MyZone strap for an entire 12-hour day just to see how many calories I burn without exercise. So if you wear it before you start setting your goals and you wear it during an entire day of living just to see what is the base level in which I am blasting calories, without, what is my basal metabolism? So in other words, what is my resting heart rate before I sit up in the morning after I open my eyes? And how many calories does my body need to have every day in order to function for it to not go deficient? Because once it becomes deficient of energy expenditure, now it's going to go into either a catatonic state or it's going to use fat for fuel. You don't want it to be you don't want to go starvation mode and try and make up for the difference. So if you know how many calories your body needs in a given day, it'll give you a better idea of when to keep track of wearing the strap. Let me do a quick check here while I've got I got my laptop up here while we're here, since the question came up, MyZone heart rate monitor. And let's see here. It does not have it on, oh, it does. Okay. So you can get it on Amazon for $150. And again, you don't have to have a home gym or a facility code in order to use it. They'll give you a default, but there's the MyZone set. You can go to, and this is the #1 new release in heart rate monitors. If you just type in heart rate monitor for exercise, again, Polar is the one that I used for years. and it is like the pioneer of all heart rate monitoring. Now that everybody that manufactures them is on target with the research, now there are other companies, now that they have figured out the different rhythms, now you can buy a heart rate monitor for next to nothing. So when it comes to like this one right here, and there's different features for different heart rate monitors. So if you're trying to find a heart rate monitor that works for you, make sure it's Bluetooth, make sure that it will synchronize with a different smartphone or not smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, if you have a flip phone or an old school phone, and you don't have a smartphone, you can synchronize it to your computer at home and keep it online database. But if you have a smartphone, it automatically saves it for you. But the Polar is where I started my career in heart rate monitoring. You can get a Polar heart rate monitor as cheap as $87. So it just depends as to what you're looking for. Your Apple Watch is just as effective as MyZone. So you don't have to use MyZone. I just gave you an example of one of the options. If you have an Apple Watch, your Apple Watch, the newest features of the Apple Watch, not only will it check your heart rate and give you a live heart rate reading, it will also check your respiration rate. It'll give you your breathing rate. So when COVID hit, one of the triggers for hospitalization or for going on a certain medication was your respiration rate. If your respiration rate if it fell below a certain level, okay, we're getting you on oxygen, we're admitting you, or we're taking this medication to making sure that we can open up your bronchial highways. Respiration and heart rate are now trackable without pushing anything else. You don't have to have an extra app. It is coming pre-installed on the Apple Watch. If you look at your Apple Watch on the back side, Garmin is the same way, Polar is the same way. There is a laser light that shows up on the back side of it that it will flash, or you just notice that it's there. And if I remember right, the Apple Watch, it's green. It's like it almost looks like a green laser. The MyZone, hang on tight here. MyZone is exactly the same way. It has this little, it's itty bitty because I don't have it turned on, but it has this little receptor that gives information back and forth. And it does that through, again, it has to be wet, because the moisture, the wet of the strap is what transfers the information and conductivity. Now, when you wear this little strap or like this little watch, it looks like a little watch. I don't wear it that often because I don't wear it full time. I only wear it when I'm working out, so that I'm not working too hard, because I'm known to work too hard. I'm known to exercise too hard. So when it is in contact with, it's in contact with my wrist. My wrist is getting, where do you go to take your pulse? You go to take it on your wrist or around your neck, close to the heart. So you can wear it across the chest. You can wear it around the wrist. And again, a lot of the rings, you can buy rings now at Costco and Sam's Club or Best Buy that keep track of your respiration, your heart rate, how many times you awaken in the middle of the night, or how many times you're moving throughout the night. It can measure almost like what kind of brain waves you're experiencing while you're trying to sleep. So you know if you're getting into REM sleep or delta wave sleep. There's different phases of sleep. And if you're not tapping into a certain level of sleep patterns, your body is not in a recovery restoration mode where the hormones are releasing, that it actually is fixing you. If you don't get into a deep sleep, and if you're not sleeping enough, you won't heal. So your body won't release fat for fuel. My phone number, if you want direct information, 317-446-7971. Lifepro is not sponsoring by any means MyZone, Garmin, Apple. We're not endorsing of selling those products to all of you. I just want to make sure you have the information, because if you don't have a tracking device, a high quality, because you can go to the Goodwill and you can get an old tracking device that has just been donated, and it might be old school. The algorithms that go into these trackable devices is how you're going to get the number on the other side. The algorithms, if you know, with your MyZone, with Garmin, with Polar, with Apple, you have to go through these different updates as the technology advances forward. I remember having to plug my USB port into my Polar wrist strap, And that would send information through to my hard drive on my personal computer, not my laptop. And then it would have to go through an update. And why does it go through an update? Because an algorithm is changing, and they're coming out with different algorithms that are going to give you better information, better reliability, more validity, and you're going to get more accurate results so that you have that information. If your products are not going through updates, or if you're not upgrading your systems as more and more information is becoming available and technology is being available to us, you're using old school technology for new age results. So be careful, like how you feed the information to your brain and to your body, so that you're not working too hard. I like to say work smarter, not harder, because trust me, my friends, I have worked so hard. Like, I would prioritize my whole life around getting my 2 hours of working out in. I was exercising anywhere from 15 to 25 hours a week, teaching fitness classes, working one-on-one personal training, strength coaching, working with athletes on the sidelines for sports medicine. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't until I went to a fitness show, a world convention in my mid-30s, and was working out. I'm like, oh yeah, I get to do all this stuff and test out all this new information, and I get to try all these new gadgets, and they're paying me to wear these devices and to test everything. And I was exercising every day, half a day, every day. And I was eating, I was getting the calories in, and I gained 15 pounds. How on earth does that happen? That is not calories out versus calories in, because I had a major deficit of calories. I was pushing way more calories out than I was consuming. So how do you gain weight on that? And it happened every trip that I went out for a national or a world show, where I'm learning new techniques, getting certified in more fitness training classes, different technologies. And so I had to go through seeing special medical practitioners, getting hormone testing done, because I was aging very fast. Exercise will make you get older faster if you're not careful. So when it comes to, so if you have an Apple Watch, run with that, because an Apple Watch, you don't need any other gadgets. Your Apple Watch will work. If you want more specificity, meaning if you want the tracking device to tell you when your interval is up. So if you're doing high intensity interval training, which means you're taking your heart rate up and then you're bringing it right back down to super low for a recovery of, a minute and a half to 3 minutes, you're jacking it right back up and you're keeping it high for like anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. And then you're bringing it back down for a whole nother recovery mode. That's high-low. And so what happens? You use way more fuel in the fuel tank, in the vehicle, in order to get through those programs, which is very similar to stop and go in traffic. You're going to use way more fuel, stop and go, high volume, slowing speed, versus staying on cruise control, steady state for a long trip. If you're staying on cruise control, steady state, on eco mode in your car, instead of going high and low, more wear and tear in the parts, more fuel costs, more stops at the fuel station, and way more attentive for you. So in the end of it, making sure that you're doing the right thing so that you're getting to the goals that you're setting for yourself. If you're wanting to follow the calorie counters on the machines, all the power to you. But please don't use it as a way up. You can use it to seeing how you progress and being consistent with the same machine. But if you're using that and you're running outside and you're keeping track on the treadmill at the local gym, or you do an aerobics class, like there are so many different ways that you are checking your calories in. You're going online and you're saying, okay, how many calories do I burn for running 3 miles? Well, let me pull that up for you, because I got it right here. So we're going to type in, how many calories do I burn in running a 5K? And I'm going to tell you what it says, and I'm going to explain to you why. Okay, a 5K run typically burns 300 to 450 calories, but significantly varies by body weight, intensity, and speed. Okay, so for example, a 140-pound individual, male and female, totally different chemistry, totally different metabolism, by the way. Way easier for a male to lose weight versus a female because of our hormones. Totally different. A 140-pound person might burn about 328 calories at a 10-minute per mile pace, whereas a heavier person carrying more mass is going to burn more, running slower. So you can't go off of what everything says or listening. Oh, well, I'm 25 years old and I weigh 140 pounds and I wear a size 6 and I just did this and I wear a tracking device and it told me that I worked out on the treadmill today and I blew 400 calories running at 5 miles an hour. I don't care who you are. If you are exactly the same, if you're looking at body metrics, if you appear the same, you wear the same, your cellular energy is unique to you. So don't go off of what your friend or your twin sister is telling you, because it's not going to be the same. It's all based off of your intensity in the moment, in the time that you're delivering. And then not only that, it matters how much sleep you've had. It matters what your stress level is when you wake up and get starting up to that exercise bout. It matters what your stress level is like after you're done exercising and what time you're in bed at night. Because if you're not in bed between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., it doesn't matter what you're doing because your body's not going to recover the way it's supposed to. It releases fat for fuel at night when you sleep. So do not get on the scale right before you go to bed and be like, man, I killed it today. I did all this working out. I ate right, or I didn't eat at all. I just went through the fasting. Why am I weighing in 5 pounds heavier than 2 days ago? Because you're weighing in at the wrong time. So make sure that you're being nice to yourself, because the lies that you are telling yourself or that others have told you is sabotaging your results. So don't do that to yourself. Anyhow, when it comes to how many calories you burn, you need to know your resting heart rate. You need to know your height. You need to know what you're weighing in. I don't care what your waistline is, because bone structure and genetics, when it comes to lean muscle mass, I can develop muscles really, really fast, masculine looking muscles. If I'm lifting heavier, doing less cardio, I can blow up my legs the size of a man pretty quick. So I don't do much lower body lifting because I don't want my legs to go, right? But my upper body tones out totally different. My abdominals tone out totally different than my back do. So just be careful in chopping all these different parts up into different training programs. Make it a total body experience. Make sure that you're able to breathe and have a great conversation, that you're not huffing and puffing and hating yourself for working too hard, that you have to go home and go to bed because you've got your 3,000 calories blown out. So now you got to go to bed in order to catch up. It's not good for you. Consistency is the key. And being consistent means getting that 30 minutes of exercise in per day of combined. So I've also seen this post several times. It says that I can only go for 30 minutes total a day on the vibration plate. I am here to tell you, after recording commercials for 3 days straight with Lifepro products, with no breaks in between, I have been on these vibration plates for 8 hours a day, and it did not kill me. It did not make me gain weight. I did not have any issues. It actually made me feel great, but I wasn't doing hardcore workouts the whole time, and I wasn't elevating my heart rate. So you can get on the vibration plates more than 30 minutes a day, and it may or may not change anything that you're doing, but you cannot expect everybody else to tell you what you should do, because you as an individual have your own chemistry, you have your own physiology, you have your own electrical wiring patterns, your own frequency with your thoughts, and your own history, as well as genetics playing a part in all of that. And age makes a difference. Where you live makes a difference. Like elevation, barometric pressure changes, sunrise, sunset, which changes our hormones. All of that stuff plays into how you're going to be able to lose weight if you're losing fat mass, not weight loss. But if you're wanting to lose fat and you're trying to get more toned, you have to be really careful what you're doing based on what you've been told by whomever you're being told by and what you have done in the past. If you say, hey, I'm going to do the zone diet, I'm going to wear that trackable heart rate, I'm going to do the workouts that Amber tells me to do, and I'm going to weigh 20 pounds less in the next 6 weeks. Sit back and watch, because I did that 3 years ago. Guess what? Your physiology is totally different today than it was a year ago, completely different than it was a month ago, completely different than it was last week. So you have to make sure that you are checking yourself on a day-to-day basis with consistency. And when you stop doing it for the purpose of losing fat and start doing it because you know that you're giving your body the love that it deserves, and you're doing it for you, regardless of what anybody else says or does or thinks of you. When you do it for you and you do it because it makes you happy and it makes you feel good, the weight will melt off of you without you even trying. That's what happened to me. I never thought I would break under 150 pounds after suffering 8 spinal injuries and being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And it wasn't until I just gave up, said, okay, I'm so done with diets, with pills, with injectables. I'm done with working out, hard level. I lost weight, not trying. And it was like, wait a second, I'm shrinking, but how am I shrinking? All I'm doing is standing on that and just doing body weight exercise. It does happen. So for those that are saying in different posts, if you're to give you some perspective, a personal trainer can be a mommy, a daddy, a senior citizen, a teenager. You only have to graduate high school to sit down for a personal training exam. And you don't have to have any education in order to do it other than to read the manual and beat the test. Now you have a certificate that says you are a personal trainer. So please, please be careful about where you obtain your information from, because just because they paid $100 to sit down for a weekend proctored exam that is accredited and no college education or coursework in human anatomy, physiology, understanding physics, understanding the endocrine system, the nervous system, the musculoskeletal system. If they cannot give you the names of the muscles, the origin, the attachments, and what they do, then don't listen to what they're telling you, because they have no clue what they're talking about. When it comes to strength coaching, in order to be a strength coach, you have to have a 4-year college education in a kinesiology or human science backed program in order to be able to even sit for the test. A 4-year college degree. I've been a certified strength coach since 2002. And I sat for my board exam in sports medicine a month apart. So I've been in both at the same time. Your doctor, I hear this all the time and I see it all the time. Listen to what your doctor says. I have a lot of clients who are in med school right now. I've written recommendation letters for them. Do you know how much education they get in exercise physiology, nutrition, weight loss, and hormone regulation? They get 1 class for their entire medical degree. And then wherever they go, whatever direction they choose to serve or be trained in is where they get their experience in their fellowship, their residencies, and through their mentorships. They don't know everything about weight loss or nutrition or how the hormones show up in the blood work, because I'm a victim of multiple doctors, including a fat loss doctor. Like, it took multiple specialists to figure out how it all flows together. This doctor wanted to give me a diet pill. This doctor wanted me on a special diet. This doctor wanted me to take hormones. This doctor just said, I don't care if you exercise or not. Just take the pills and rest. You just need rest. I need you to go see this doctor for a sleep study because you're narcoleptic and you're getting fat. Like, I've had all of those doctors, all of them working for me at the same time, all 7. And I fired every one of them and started over and figured it out. So be careful where you get your information from, because just because they have that certificate hanging on the wall at the gym, just because it is certified on the website, just because the doctor has the MD in the office or the DO that says, I went through med school, they don't know a lot of what you're asking them to share with you. They know what their niche is, what their specialization is. So if you see a functional health practitioner for anti-aging, for hormone regulation, for understanding how your cells are working in your body and inflammation, that's a great resource. A rheumatologist, they deal with autoimmune. They have no clue what kind of a diet you need to be on. In fact, I don't even give diet recommendations. I send out to a dietitian, and guess what? Dietitians, they're only going to give you what their niche or what their research or what their continuing education, whatever they're learning. If you go and see a physical therapist, I can't tell you how many PTs that I have educated because they have no clue what a vibration plate actually does. So in order to defer to the side of caution, they're going to say, you know what? probably shouldn't do that because I'm not familiar with it. When really it's one of the best things you can do for yourself, but they don't understand it. So they're going to say no just because it's convenient and they don't want to be held liable. So just be very careful where you get your information from. Be very careful about doing what everybody else thinks you should do, or what worked for your neighbor, or what worked for your sister, or what have you. I tell you what, sometimes you just have to try one thing and just see how it makes you feel. How does it make you feel to be able to get on a machine and go for a ride? If you feel better when you got off of it, perfect. Wake up tomorrow and see what happens. If you wake up tomorrow and you feel good, maybe you feel a little bit better, but you're feeling a little more tension, more stiffness, get on it again, go for a ride. Maybe go a little bit longer or change the input on the system. Go to a higher speed, pick a higher level program, or move different. Like, you're going to have to tweak a lot of different things in order to experience, the results on the other side of it. And what is going to work for you and what worked for me, what continues to work for me. Those are all going to be different experiences that we get to learn from each other. So if you're experiencing something that works for you, feel free to share it on our VIP page on Facebook, because being able to bounce off of each other, and it doesn't mean we have to do what everybody else is doing, but just, wow, I never even thought of trying that. Or, wow, I didn't really think that was going to be an issue with eating that kind of food. Wow, I had no idea that that's what kind of doctor that's what they do. Did you know that a rheumatologist deals with autoimmune disease? Did you know that not a lot of neurologists have any idea about hormone levels? They only understand neurology as it relates to their list of diagnoses. A chiropractor specializes in spine health and neurology, but they cannot do surgery or procedures, but they can order tests. So you have to be careful with which medical pros that you trust and ask for help, because if they don't know, they're going to say, I don't think so, or no, I don't know, which completely shuts you down when it actually might be exactly what you're needing. So just be careful. And it doesn't hurt to ask. Having a little bit of doubt in your life, it doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're not getting to the end game. It means that you are asking for more information, challenging your mind to making a decision based on analytics and critical thinking, and you're just pausing in order to figure out what you should do based on what your intuition is telling you and based on what your facts are. Everything I have shared with you in this episode, it is all fact-based. It is all evidence-based on fascia, musculoskeletal, the nervous system. I immerse myself into all of it, and I learn from multiple professionals all over the world. So when it comes to understanding what is best for you, just again, reach out to the top professionals in the area that you might be, or just go in and do your own research. But I will tell you, not all peer-reviewed studies, journal articles, clinical research is going to be reliable for the information you're trying to get. Some of it is manipulated by who is funding it. Some of it is manipulated by who started the study and who actually finished the study. I've been a clinical assistant. I was a clinical assistant years ago, in which my job was to research MRI studies for spinal injuries and professional athletes. And the amount of data that we started with was a lot. It was overwhelming in order to process it. But when it comes to validating whether a study works or not, you have to have complete data. And if your clinical subjects have side effects, drop out of the study, or they have this parameter that doesn't fit the criteria, even though you have tens of thousands of measured information, it doesn't matter, because you can't use any of it if any of it is missing for each and every subject that you're testing. So clinical studies, although it's nice to have the information, it's impossible to control what actually matters when you're trying to make a decision in your life. You just truly have to practice and trial and error and just see what works for you, and just share it with those of us that are continuing to learn through each other. Total side tangent, but anyhow, calorie expenditure on the machine. If you want to use it for consistency, just to see if I operate on a P7 level on the Hovert, what is the calorie expenditure if I'm just standing here? I challenge you to do resistance training, the exact same program, the exact same amount of time, days later, and see what that calorie thing does. It's not going to change much because it is just a measure of time, program, and general range of biometrics. Okay. When it comes to whether you're feeling change or not, if you are breathing easier, if you can do P2 on the waiver day 1, and it no longer is exciting and you're bored with it come a week later, go P3 on a waiver and don't add any resistance or hard exercises. Just stand on it. Or if you want to try and throw in some resistance training by holding a plank or holding a squat or using your resistance bands and separating the resistance bands or lifting dumbbells, just see how you feel. If it gets easier after 3 or 4 days, your body is adapting, and that means it's working. It doesn't matter what the calories tell you. It doesn't matter what time tells you. It doesn't matter what program you're using. It's working because you feel better. And then when you look at yourself in the mirror on a day that you're not even thinking about it, somebody will walk up to you and be like, wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? You're glowing different. You might not be wearing a different set of clothes. You might not have gone and bought new clothes. You're just proud of yourself because you're feeling different. You're feeling better, which changes the hormones of how your body responds to stress and recovery. And again, you can't be in both at the same time. You can't be in the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system at the same time. You're in one or the other. So when it comes down to how you feel, that's what really matters. And then before you know it, this happened to me as I was doing these YouTube workouts, creating them for all of you. I was doing it for something bigger than me. I wasn't doing it to lose weight. I actually did it for my clients because they needed some kind of leadership. And everything that I did on the workouts was not proven. In fact, there were no workouts on YouTube when I started. I am the YouTube study. I created the workouts based off of physical therapy programs and used that in the setting that I was doing, but putting it into a fitness concept. And so I made you all think that you're doing a workout when you're doing prehabilitation or injury prevention with vibration, which creates lean muscle mass, which allows you to burn more calories, which means you're happier, you're healthier, you're glowing more. And people started saying, Amber, like your face is different. Like you're looking skinnier. But let me tell you, when you wear spandex all day, every day, and you run the same stuff, the difference between a small, medium, and a large, and a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or the difference of weight on the scale, it is all hard to regulate, like how you're really changing. So I went in one day and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put on a pair of jeans that I haven't worn in months. They were way too big. Like, wait a second, how did I skip 2 sizes of jeans? So I did this over a period of time and I shrunk, not trying. I shrunk trying to just help all of you. So when you stop trying to doing it in the mindset and you're just using the goals that you're setting for yourself as motivation for keeping moving, the movement and what the vibration plate does for your body when you are using it is far greater than if you just go out and pound hard at the gym trying to keep track of calories and heart rates. But I'm going to stand on each one of these plates for 5 to 10 minutes and talk to you. You can watch my body. It's going to react totally different. The Hovert on that side is a 3D, which means it has 2 motors. It has an oscillating motor, which is teeter-totter, and it has a pulsation motor, which is tickle, okay? Getting 2 different types of vibration for 3-dimensional change, but calories are less on that machine because it's a lower intensity machine and a different type of vibration. If I get on the Rumble X Plus, it only has 3 preset programs, and P2 is my favorite of the 3, but it's not the highest program. P1 and P3 are very different, much more gentle. P2 is very change-worthy and interactive, and I have done that same P2 program on that machine since 2020, and my body still cannot get used to it. So if you're bored, find something to watch on TV, find something to listen to, find something else to spice up the workout, because my body, after using every one of our vibration plates for several years, multiple sessions, not workouts, but multiple sessions over a year's time, my body still cannot figure out what's coming next on a preset program. If you're turning on your manual mode for one or the other, and you're increasing the speed as high as you can max it out, your body is going to get used to that, and it's not going to change. It's not going to adapt. So having the high-low, ever-changing preset programs that are always making change in the moment without you having to stress and think about what frequency am I in, what amplitude am I in, like you can get too caught up in the numbers, and it doesn't matter. It's just like heart rate tracking. It doesn't matter the calories that you're burning if you're not doing it right for the right reasons. So don't worry about frequency. Don't worry about amplitude. Just get on, push a button, and go for a ride and enjoy the ride and see how your body responds, how you feel. If you are shaking things up and you're sore, good. That means you're creating change in your body, and your body is craving change, but it can be a little resistant to change too. It takes 15 days minimum to create a new habit. Same thing for the body. You've been doing the same crap to your body for years, if not decades. You've been eating the same crap. You've been doing the same exercise or lack thereof. You've been dealing with the same stressful people in your life. You've been going to the same job that stresses you out. Like, you don't want to change because the pain of staying the same is less than what your perception of change might be, and a pain associated with that. You don't want to get out of the comfort zone in order to level up. So you're just staying comfortable. Your body is not going to change when it's comfortable. So if you feel sore tomorrow after you get off the vibration plate, after just relaxing or just standing, or you're doing an Amber workout, or you're doing a workout with Roseanne, or you're adding resistance, or you went up in speed, or you went into a program, or you went longer, or you've had a more stressful day, guess what? You're going to feel different. But if you're feeling a little worse, a little sore, or you're feeling a little flu-like because you're getting the junk out of the trunk, you're getting crap out of your system, there's resistance that goes with that. Stay consistent. Stay on pace. And if you've got to take a day off, it's okay. It's okay to ease off and take a day off and jump back in. Just don't get used to taking too many days off, because again, it takes 15 days minimum to start a new habit. It takes 30 minimum for that habit to become automatic. So it takes more than just getting on it for the month of January. Again, it took me from February until October to shrink just standing on that plate. And it did happen. So you can go back and watch the videos. You can see everything shrinking. You can see the different workouts that I did. Try it. Don't try it. Totally up to you. But there are multiple playlists available on our YouTube channel. 21 days in 21 ways to a better you is one of them. The 21-day challenge I created to integrate you and to introduce you to vibration plate technology in general. Whether you want to go super simple or whether you want to go super extreme. I have created workouts across the board, getting started with Debbie, joining her on a Q&A session, doing yoga Pilates with Roseanne. Like, there's so many different ways that you can do this, but don't worry about calorie tracking, because it doesn't matter if you don't know what your heart rate is, you don't know what your respiration is, you don't know what your current weight is, you don't know what your resting heart rate is, and you're not controlling the stinking thinking in your mind. We process 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. That's what we process. Over 40,000 of those for most people are negative. You become what you think. So stop telling yourself the lies that you're not good enough and that you're comparing yourself to the neighbor or to the sister or to the coworker or to your old version of yourself, and start being proud of you for just giving your body a chance at life, because you're still here able to listen and experience it. So I'm going to get on here and you can see how my body moves, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And then I'm going to skedaddle and go see my kiddo. So, and if you notice, you don't have to get all fancy in order to exercise. I'm actually wearing waterproof boots. I work barefoot most of the time. I'm not going to put tennis shoes on. I'm not going to get out of my boots to get on here, because I want you to be able to see that you can do anything with really whatever you got. I'm going to get on the hover. I'm turning it on. I'm setting it to a high preset program. P8 is what I'm setting it on. If you have a waiver, you have a turbo, the closer your feet are to the middle, the more calming this is. The wider that your feet are, the more jiggle. You want jiggle. This is the thing. If you're wanting to lose fat, you got to shake it to lose it. You got to break it free so you can use the energy in those fat cells in order to utilize. Okay, so I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so you can see. Whoops, didn't mean to shake you about. I'm taking you through some shaky time. Anyways, when you get on here, you're going to see a big difference in my body in how it jiggles. And I'm proud of this girl jiggling because I came from, again, weighing in over 200 pounds, and now I'm on, any time of day, throughout the year, anywhere from 135 to 145. Wearing anywhere from I've been as small as a size 4 and as big as a size 8 this year, but I don't care. I feel awesome. So I feel like I'm getting younger as my body continues to get the love that it needs, and the more that I control the stress in my mind. But right now today, I'm wearing a size small in athletic pants and a size small athletic shirt, and life just goes on. So this feels pretty good. My booty's jiggling a little bit. If I take my feet just a little bit wider, you're going to see a little more bobblehead effect, a little more energy. And if I take my feet really wide, you can see a lot more happening here. So the wider your feet go, the more calories you're going to burn. If you're on the machine and I'm looking like, okay, calories, it says I've burned 5 calories just standing here. If you're standing here and it says you've burned 5 calories, it's wrong, because when you stand side with a wider stance, there's more activity here in my muscles. I'm having to use a bigger base of support. And if I get into a squat where I have to load with gravitational energy pushing down on me, I'm getting even more resistance on my body, which requires more fuel in the fire to get my vehicle in through adaptation. So you're using more fuel. Calories is just how much fuel you're using. Okay, now if I take my shoes off and just go in my socks, I'm going to get a different reading, because the energy that is entering through the bottom of my feet is different than if I have shoes on. So I actually work harder with my shoes and socks off, which is a good thing, because that's like my body is reading everything. It's a good thing. So if you can go barefoot when you're on the machine, it's better for you in the long run. But if you can't, that's okay. Like, it's better. Again, let enough be enough that you can experience the change that you're hoping for. Okay, so we are jiggling away here. Okay, now energy as far as calories, I have no idea. I'm not wearing my tracking device, so I can't tell you how many calories I've actually burned. Now, if I get down here and I hold myself, I'm burning way more calories, even though I'm not in contact with the plate with my feet. I am burning way more calories and putting more resistance on my frame, which is going to tone me out better if I'm in this plank for a period of 1 minute, or if I'm in a mountain climber, if you can get into a mountain climber, or if I'm in a lunge where I'm holding on to myself and I'm doing split squats. The calorie expenditure is totally different for each one of those positions with the amount of energy used in motion. So again, be careful what you see or what you think or what you share as far as calories and workout types, okay? So we're jiggling away here. This is picking up a little bit of speed. This is what I started with, my very first unit. It is very gentle compared to that one because we didn't have this one available when I first bought mine. They only had 3 vibration plates at that time, but man, the booty is jiggling. I can feel the speed going up. I can feel my butt is moving. Guess what? If you're mobilizing this, it is changing in shape. You cannot change a watermelon-shaped butt to a cantaloupe-shaped butt without doing some things to the tissue. Like the body reshapes itself every 15 to 20 minutes. According to the Fascia Research Congress, our body is always reshaping. So you can get into, position here. You can tuck your tail. You can hang out here. Like there's so many different things you can do, and your body is going to continue to break free of tension, adhesions, and it's going to reshape. And you're going to feel different based on how you do that. Okay, so you've seen how my body moves on that. And we've only been on here for a few minutes. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to get on, let's turn that off. I'm going to get on the Rumble X, and you're going to see a totally different experience on that. Totally different. So enjoy this, because this is fun. This is my favorite. The Rumble X Plus is my absolute favorite machine that we have ever made. And we are sold out of them right now, unfortunately, for all of you. But this is my absolute favorite of all of them. Again, I use the P2 program because that's the one I feel the most. That's the one that works for me. Might not work for all of you, but this is my favorite. And I'm just starting with my legs shoulder width. I'm not as wide as I can go. I can already feel a huge difference in the first 10 seconds on this one versus that one, because this one has an extra motor running at the same time. So it is a teeter-totter, it is a tickle, and it is a lateral shift, which creates this shake and bake. We got to shake and bake in order to change and truly shape differently. So now I'm experiencing the oscillating motor at a higher speed. It's already preset. It changes it up on its own. Way more powerful than that one right now. Way more powerful. Like I can feel like my fat tissue, the adipose tissue, I can feel it shaking up a little bit. And if you start to itch, if you start to turn red a little bit, if it starts to hurt a little bit or get uncomfortable, you're breaking stuff down, which is exactly what your body needs in order to eliminate it. Your body will not use fat for fuel if it is wanting to drain everything from our muscles. And I've got, we are still going. You guys are awesome. All right, so as you can see, I am shaking up heavy. You can hear the difference in my mouth and my sound, right? So everything is different, okay? Now, I would love to spend another 20 minutes doing a workout with you. We will defer that to next time. The most important thing that I wanted to share with all of you today is what matters on vibration, wearable tracking devices, calories in, calories out is not the formula. Truly using self and monitoring your progress for yourself from one moment to the next, answering any questions you might have. And again, I'll be going live here in the next week multiple times, offering different programs, different workouts, sessions, if you will. So I will definitely look forward to having you all back here. And again, after the video, it will be saved and sent to our YouTube channel. So if you have other questions, we'll be coming back and taking a look at those questions later so that we can stay on top of things and adding links to research if you really need it. And we'll go from there. So I wish you all the very best today. Thank you for tuning in and listening. And I'll look forward to enjoying your journey of greatness and life transformation in the next videos yet to come. Have a great day, guys.